Okay, so this is sort of a famous or infamous Buck Owens guitar. Belongs to Zach Childs. I rebuilt it about within this last year. The neck had been broken, the headstock had been broken several times. I had to do some extensive work to it. It looks, pretty good now. I had to do a volute and reinforce it with maple and put a carbon fiber rod in there and do all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, had been talking about replacing the neck, but I said, no. So I fixed that up. I fixed that up for Zach, sent it off to him, did a lot of stuff, worked on the inside, sent it off to him, and then months went by, and I had worked on a couple of other bucks since then, at least two, if not more. And what happened was, I noticed, like on one of those bucks, I put new frets on it. These Harmony frets are, they tend to be a little bit small. They tend to be not too worn because I don't think people play these very much, when they got them back in 1970. So they didn't wear them out. They just didn't play them, but the frets aren't that great. In fact, there's one thing like this. Here's a fret slot. It looks like this, and you're looking at it across the fingerboard, and there's a fret slot here, one here, one here. There's 18 or 19 of them on this guitar. So the tang of the old fret sits into that slot like this, but there's a lot of slop in there, and I think maybe they put glue in there or something, but it doesn't really reinforce that slot. Now, with these new frets I put in, they have a much more substantial tang that goes in there. So it doesn't allow the fingerboard, to warp like that. In fact, it might even push it back the other way a little bit, put a back bow in it, and then the tension of the strings will straighten it out. Typical compression fretting type stuff. So I told Zach about that, and said I had replaced the frets on a couple of other bucks, and he said sure, I'd do it to his. So he sent it back, and I just did it, and yes, it plays a whole lot better now. It just feels better too, especially like down there, just all over the place. Up here. Yeah, it's a much better, much more playable guitar now. I like that. What happened too with those two latest bucks that I had rebuilt was that a player named McCullough Ferguson from the band Ghost Party had sent me his buck that was a real nice one. It was like, had hardly been played. It was all white and whatever. And I rebuilt it. And I was rebuilding another one at the time that was a really older, a little bit more hammered, very yellowed one. In fact, it looked orange, yellow, and green, not red, white, and blue. And I did both of those. Went to the Mesquite Guitar Show and in outside of Dallas, and McCullough came by and picked up his guitar, but he really fell in love with the other one, the yellow one. So I just swapped him for that. I had replaced the frets on both of those guitars, and those were really the first bucks that I had replaced the frets with and noticed, whoa, it just makes it so much better. So that's what I did. I guess talking about Zach's guitar and McCullough's guitar, and perhaps you'll see it on some videos or out when he's playing. Same with Zach. Yeah, so you can make these old bucks sound pretty darn good.